97.9, 105.5, KISS FM. It is Listen, It's Liz. It's Stop Stroke September with our friends at Slocum Dickson Medical Group. And we are going red for the month of September, raising awareness about stroke. And I have met some fantastic, amazing ladies. And in studio with me today, we have got Rosalind. Good morning. How are we?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so happy to have you in studio and talking about this. And off the air, we definitely got talking and whatnot. And this is something that you are so passionate about sharing what happened to you. And I guess let's start at the beginning. When did stroke happen to you?
It occurred in 2019. I was actually a hypertension patient, and I had been for several years, and I was on medications, and I was seeing the doctor regularly as prescribed.
Right.
I thought I was doing everything that I was supposed to.
Right.
But then there's the things on the side when you have to realize, what am I eating?
The things that we don't necessarily want to talk about ever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So dieting, and I started working on that. I started exercising. I actually have a bunch of girlfriends that I put together, and we walk together.
Love that.
And it's kind of like a stress relief because we walk and we empty ourselves, and we say what happens here stays here.
Yeah, I love that.
It's actually a good form of therapy.
Right.
And we start to actually find out each other's history, what things we've been through, and it really opens you up. And it's a good thing because I told him, I said, everyone needs someone.
Yes.
I said, we have our husbands, great. But women, you need sisters. You need friends, you just need
that support
outside.
system. Yeah. And so you realized that you needed this and this was a thing, and now you guys are moving, and not only with your minds, but also your body. So it's a really great mix together. And then what happened?
I was a full-time worker for the state, and work.
Yeah.
Stress sets in at some point.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, just let it go. When things occurred, we had, transition of people, everything was changing, and I was like, okay, I can do this.
Right.
And then we started getting more responsibilities, and we're looking at each other like, do you know how to do this? We're both everybody's looking at each other like,
we're going to figure it out.
We're going to figure this out.
Right.
And I found myself working a lot more, trying to help everybody else stay afloat once I finally figured out my own responsibilities and my job. Then we realized, I said, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I said to my boss, I went in one day and I talked to her, and I said, I really like the job. I said, but I have to remember that I have a family outside here.
Right.
I have other things to do outside. I have a life.
Right, yeah.
And I had to take it back. And she was like, but we're counting on you.
There's so many people who can relate to this story so hard right now.
Exactly.
You become that person for other people, and you don't want to let them down.
Yeah, you don't want to disappoint anyone, but you also realize, okay, what about me?
Yeah.
That finally came one night. I'm at home and I'm thinking, well, what about me?
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. Everybody else is just like, enjoying coffee, and I'm like,
yeah, you're over there.
Got one toe over here typing it. And you just have to make that decision to take back your life.
Yeah.
You have to take a good look at yourself and say, am I happy with what I'm doing? Am I happy in this situation? Yeah. Where do I see myself? Do I even see myself alive at this point?
Yeah.
Down the road.
Yeah.
I had started saying, whoa, this is getting kind of crazy here.
Yeah.
I'm just tired. That's all. And when I came home, I was so tired. I had nothing to give my family.
Right.
And that's when I said, okay, we got to stop. I got to stop this myself.
Too much.
Talked with my doctor. And talked with my doctor.
Yeah.
And I had to make the decision. You know what, Roz? I have to advocate for myself. I have to step up because I was an introvert, believe it or not. Very quiet and shy. People are like, Roz, to see you now, it's like, you're a totally different person. I said, you have to take care of yourself because women, especially, and African-American women, we are like head of the family. We have our husbands. We all have our husbands. But we're the nurturers. We want to see that everybody's okay. And then comes a point where we're not okay or we're tired.
Right.
So I just kind of had to make some decisions with my doctor. I was like, I'm not getting anywhere. I went home one day and I was like, I don't even think he listened to a thing I said. Mm-hmm. Because I said, I feel like I'm a broken record because I keep saying the same thing to him. And I said, sometimes you have to keep saying your message to get it across.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to change the way you say it, because if you feel like they didn't listen to you the first time, well, maybe if I change it, they will.
If I tweak it and make it different, yeah.
Exactly. So when I had my night when I went home, and I had been at my doctor's office that day.
Yeah.
Because it was an entire week I had been there. I think he got tired of seeing me.
Because you were there advocating for yourself, which is so important.
My husband says, you keep going.
Yes.
Until he listens. And I said, I've been there every day this week and he hasn't listened. I said, I have to change. I have to make a move. I got it. And I finally said to my doctor, I said, I need a referral. Mm-hmm. And he just stopped in his tracks. Mm-hmm. I said, I need a referral.
Right.
Because I'm not getting from you what I need.
Right.
I said, you took an oath that you would take care of your patients. I said, I don't feel like I'm being taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm not being rude or disrespectful, but I'm just letting you know how I feel. So that night, that's when everything hit. I got up to go to the bathroom and walking, and it just seemed like I was in a fog.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking, like, I see the bathroom.
Right.
But why does it seem so far away? And I was like, I got this. Got to that doorway and I hit the floor like a brick. My husband came running and he was like, oh my God. He's like turning me over and he says to me, babe, he goes, smile for me. Mm. And I couldn't.
Right.
So
that was smart thinking.
Because he was military. Mm-hmm. He's retired since, but because he was military, he knew first aid and he knew the acronym FAST, which saved my life.
Right.
The FAST is face. Is the face drooping? Is anything abnormal about the face?
Yes.
A. Mm-hmm. A just got me like blown out with my arms and stuff. Like they check to see if you can do your limbs and anything.
Arm weakness.
Your speech. Mm-hmm. I was trying to talk. And I just couldn't get, it was all slurred and wasn't making any sense and the words weren't coming out. And I was getting frustrated with that. Mm-hmm. And then time.
Yes.
Time is of the essence. As soon as you even hit one of those 4 acronyms, call.
Yes, you're calling 911.
My husband was like, we're calling. He said, we got to go, babe. He says, I'm calling them. He said, I'm not going to take you. He said, I'm going to have them take you. He said, because that time frame, that little bit of time frame you have, makes all the difference. 100%. He said, you can be paralyzed for life. He said, you can lose your speech. He said, all kinds of things. He says, you won't be able to walk. And he's just like rambling on. And I'm just like, he's like, I got you. He said, we're going to get through this. There by ambulance. And again, here comes the ambulance. Yeah. I'm going to Utica.
Yeah.
And I had the most amazing team. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were just like, okay, we're going to ask you some questions. They were very good. I mean, just thorough. And the team of doctors I had was just, they were so caring. And they were like, we are not going to let, I remember that doctor kept saying, we're not going to let anything else happen to you. Mm-hmm. He just kept saying it over and over and again. And I was just giving everybody the blank stare.
Well, right. There's, for you, you're like, I just know. Need, yeah, right.
I was like, I can't talk and I can't understand.
Right.
Just like mumble.
Yeah. I can't imagine what it feels like to be in that state of all of these people are there working on you, making sure that you are okay.
And no sooner as the doctor says, well, I'm going to go we're going to plan some tests for you. Mm-hmm. And he walks out the room and I remember I just like started seizing. I had like a seizure.
Yeah.
And my husband freaked out because he was like, oh God, you know. And the doctor's like, we got her. You know, I mean, they just went into full action. But a team of doctors that was just, they were just on one accord. They all, this one had this one. They all knew what to do.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what's going on.
Yeah. And one of the things that you are so adamant about is just making sure, obviously, advocating for yourself, but don't ignore those symptoms that can seem so normal, but they're not normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The symptoms, like I said, they tell you certain symptoms to look for, but everybody's system and body is different. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I was like, well, I don't have that symptom. I said, I know I have hypertension. And the thing that I think frustrated me was that my blood pressure had continuously climbed. It was kept climbing with the meds that I was on. So to me, my doctor was like, okay, if you have me on meds and it's not working,
right,
you should be looking for another avenue.
Something's not right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he just kept me on that one, and they were like, she's been on this med for how long? You know, other doctors, they were like, he didn't switch you onto anything else? And I said, no, I've always been on this. And they said, well, it hasn't worked for you in how many years? You know? I was like, yeah.
Yeah. And hearing it from other professionals, making it, when you're in the middle of it and you think that it's just normal, it's not necessarily normal. It's great to ask for a referral if it's just even in the back of your head. Oh, that's so important.
And I can't encourage people enough. Like I was talking about insurance. A lot of people are ashamed to say, I can't afford it. I can't afford to go to the doctors every week like you did. I said, you can go to the emergency room. The emergency room has to see you. They cannot turn you away.
Yeah.
Plus, they will also talk to you about what avenues they get. All these hospitals around here receive all kinds of grants. All you have to do is write a letter. Write a letter explaining to them, hey, I have medical issues, but I don't have insurance. I have children. I'm a single parent. I mean, say whatever your condition is, because they're there to listen and help you get insurance of some type, even to cover your bills. Right. You know?
Right.
Even with us being military, with my husband being military, we were on TRICARE, and I was like, there's still going to be a ton left over.
Yeah.
And I wrote to the hospital. I wrote to them. I said, I explained the whole situation. I said, I'm not sugarcoating anything. I even sent her a beat.
But hey, you know.
And the lady said to me, she said, yes. She said, we have grants available. She said, we will help you. And it was just that simple to ask for help.
Right.
You know?
Which, it kind of goes in with how you earlier said, like Wonder Woman, you want to take on, you want to do everything. Asking for help, not necessarily easy. Yeah, it makes, but it's so important to do.
Exactly. When I had to let go of all my bills, and my brother stepped in, my husband, my sister, I mean, everybody's like, just take all of her bills away from each other. We got them. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah, right.
I can pay my own bills. You know, I can pay my own bills. And they were like, my brother, state trooper, he says to me, sis, everybody needs help sometime. He said, let me help you. I was like, oh, okay. You go hear it.
Yeah, right. When you say it like that, you know?
Exactly.
So for this Stop Stroke September, what would be, I guess, your one piece of advice that you would really just want to hit home?
Each one of us is born with a purpose. To fulfill that purpose, you sometimes have to let go. And I come from a Christian family. So sometimes you have to let go and let your faith and trust God that He has a plan and He knows that plan, and I have to go with that plan. And I promised Him that if I survived, that I would help every woman along the way.
Yeah.
Anybody, I do. I was like, okay, because I had a girlfriend that came to me and she says, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say this. I said, what is it? And she said, I feel so sick, but I can't go to the doctors. I said, what do you mean you can't go to the doctors? She says, I can't afford it. I said, good, because we're going to the emergency room. Put her right in the car.
Right.
I said, let's go.
Yeah.
Took her there, and when she came out, after they checked her and everything, she came out and she goes, what an amazing, she goes, I feel like I sat with a room full of angels. And I said, why do you say that? She goes, because nobody criticized me, nobody pointed their finger, nobody made any comments. They were all there to help. And she said, they were like, we got grants, don't you worry, we're gonna have you fill out this form. And she said, and they were all there to help me. And she goes, and I'm actually gonna have a doctor. I said, have you ever? She goes, well, last time I had a doctor, she goes, I was a kid.
Wow.
And I said, so you haven't been to the doctors in how long?
Oh.
So just, if you don't get the satisfaction you're looking for, you don't get the care you're looking for, advocate for yourselves. Mm-hmm. Keep going. If you have to keep switching doctors till you find one, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it for yourself.
That's it.
Yes.
Take care of yourself, watch your health, eat right, exercise, and live every day to the fullest.
Oh my gosh. It's Stop Stroke September here at KISS FM. You can tune in and listen back to all of our interviews at cnykiss.com. Thank you so much for wanting to come on.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And like I said, you can go back and listen to all of our survivors now over at cnykiss.com.